and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jessica, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2020. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her go
Whoever's
down
in here, sorry, my phone went dead.
because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to,
But that's okay because I got a backup phone. Now I need the charger for this phone.
Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it.
This is what we need to be talking about, this border
They
shit.
have the right to do it. The president of
The
the
realist.
United States, you'll get
I was
him
just
out of
saying,
bed.
what happened?
You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say,
Right, my
"Come
phone
on
went
down to the
dead.
office, let's sign
I
a
got
bill."
the run in my
If
mouth
he-
and I
if
knew
he
I
signs
needed
the
to
bill
put it on the
that
charger.
border is
Damn,
closed,
it's
all
loud
you
as
have to do
hell.
is say it to the border patrol who are
And my phone
following.
went dead, but I had a backup.
The border is closed. Those people are
Had a
killing
backup,
many
and this is
people.
the important part. So I had to throw this phone on here. The picture is not as clear.
This in your focus, truth.
Bad resolution, but we're here because this is the important part, the border.
You repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide.
But like I was saying before, they tell us the problems over and over again like we don't know. But they never tell us the solution. Watch this shit, y'all. Watch this shit. We're never going to get to a fucking solution on neither side, and it blows me. They instead of Daniel Muir's ass or David Muir, I'm thinking about them Straightway. David Muir, the person who is asking the questions. First of all, he's from ABC. That's first of all. But they need to have some actual American citizens. We here. I know that's right. Who else is here? I know the realist is here. The realist is always here. My dog.
And we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad.
But what was I saying, y'all?
A lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English.
Try to get them to vote. I know they try to hurry up and get them IDs so they can vote. But like my friends was just saying, they're calling from Chicago. They say, you watching the debate, you need to talk about that migrant shit. Yes, we do. And they asking a question. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. David Muir. He's from ABC. And it's biased. Even the questions is biased. No, it's the American citizens who's going to hold them accountable. Like, tell us that that wasn't an answer. Give us a real answer.
The United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost.
Where is my charger to this phone?
I'd love to have you do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll
Give me 2 seconds. I really do appreciate the realest one here, and it's another person here. If you don't mind, say something. I talk back. They facial expressions. I know, because they caught in the bind, Nate.
We have a nation in decline.
They caught in the bind, Nate.
We have a nation that is dying, David.
They full of shit.
Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by whisker, so he still believes he did not lose the election.
Okay, I'm finding my charger.
That was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us, we won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Damn.
But we cannot afford.
I forgot I put the damn charger in the kitchen. I never take it in the kitchen, but I was cooking.
Attempts, as he
Forgot
did
I
in
left
the
it in there.
past,
Damn.
to upend
We back in
the will
action. So
of
if
the
this one go
voters
dead,
and
listen,
the
might have another backup.
And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States.
Because we got to get this
And world leaders are laughing at Donald
on
Trump.
wax.
I have talked with military leaders, some of whom work with you. And they say you're
Who cares who's they laughing
And when
at
you
both of
say
y'all,
talk in this
actually.
way, in a presidential debate and deny what over and
These
over again
motherfuckers are bickering like
fortunes you have
schoolgirls.
lost because you did in fact lose that
He said I got it
election.
covered.
It
Right.
leads one to believe
Yes.
that perhaps
I'm going to have it covered.
you do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about
And they wonder
that
why these
deeply
kids
troubling, and the American people deserve better.
don't know how to resolve issues. We looking at two president selects, possible president selects, and they can't even come up with a solution. Not one time did neither one of them give us a solution to nothing. They are just telling us the problems. We know the problems.
Because you need Trump.
What the fuck is the solution? What do you want to do about it?
China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany. The
What's
biggest
up? Who's in the
pipeline
chat?
in the world.
Who's
Victor
here?
Orban
I talk
said it.
back.
He said the most
Boris.
respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes.
Look at old girl.
She got 0
Right.
votes. And when she ran, she was
I
the
mean, but
first
it's
one to
really
leave
low-key
because she
pathetic.
failed.
Like,
And
there's
now
no
she's
problem-solving
running. I
skills.
don't
Nobody
understand
is
what
telling
they're
us the
with it
solution.
because
They wonder why
they
these
put it
kids
very
is
well.
acting the way they acting. Look at the president. He talked about me. She did this. Just a bunch of tattletales. Shit. Say something fucking meaningful is what I want to hear. Ooh, her makeup is cute. Very mindful, very demure. Bitch, come through with the suit too. Period.
Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7th,
No,
Hamas, a terrorist organization.
she let off wrong. Already passing the buck. Let's understand how we got here. No, what are you going to do about it? That's it.
Women were
That's
horribly
it.
raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been
So what are you saying?
children, mothers.
You'll send us back to war?
What we know is that this war
As a soldier,
must
what are you
end.
saying?
It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
But not round the clock on our own country and our own border.
Chart a course for a two-state solution.
She got a solution to
And in
that. I bet she do.
There must be
I bet she do.
security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in
But not
equal
security
measure
for us.
Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you all,
This is
I will
bullshit.
always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any.
She
threat
hasn't
that
given a
Iran
solution to
poses
nothing
to
else that has
Israel.
been asked of
But we
her.
must
But
have a
this,
two-state
she got a
solution
solution for.
where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians
You got a whole
have
fucking
security,
layout for another
self-determination,
country.
and
What are you gonna do
the right they
here?
deserve.
What are you gonna do about our border?
You negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out.
I don't wanna
and
talk
prevent
about
the
this no
killing of
more.
more innocent civilians in Gaza.
I don't want them to
If I
talk
were
about this no
president,
more.
it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well.
Come
he
on,
would have
come
never,
on.
and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed.
You said that's what you be
millions of
talking
people
about?
when you add it up. And far worse
What
than
you be
people
talking
understand
about,
what's
Realist?
going on over
I
there.
just said a whole lot. I'm
But
over
when she
here
mentions
talking
about
shit.
Israel,
I just
all
said
of
a
sudden,
whole lot.
She hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu.
What,
when
that
he
they
went to
not taking
Congress
care of
to
the
make a
country
very
here, but got a
important
whole
speech.
plan
She
somewhere
refused to
else?
be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel.
He's
Israel
out
will
of
be gone.
order.
It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took
Factual.
off all the sanctions that I had.
Factual.
Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of
The
terror.
going around
And
the
they are
bush tactic
spheres
they
of
be
terror,
doing.
horrible
Yeah.
terror. They had no
Yeah.
money. It was a big story.
It's
and
pissing
you
me
know it.
off,
You covered
but
it very well,
she
actually.
had a
They
whole
had
plan
no
for the
money
Hamas
for
shit.
terror.
She just had a
They
whole
were
plan. She
broke.
couldn't answer
Now
not
they're
one
a rich
question.
nation.
And to be
now
honest,
what they're
Donald
doing
Trump
is
didn't
they're
either. They
spreading
have
this
been
money
beating
around.
around the bush, but they got a
Look
fucking
at what's
solution to
happening
this, or she
in the
does.
Houthis and
Trump is
Yemen.
saying that
Look
it
at
would have
what's
never
going
went
on in the
down
Middle East.
if he
This
was in
would have
office,
never
and I
happened.
believe
will
that.
get that settled and
But
passed
yeah,
and get the war
they hurried
in
up right
Ukraine
around
and
tax
Russia
time when they took
ended.
everybody's taxes this
President-elect.
past
I'll
year.
get it
More
done
people owed
before
taxes, and
even
right after
becoming
tax season, they
president.
sent all the money to
President
Israel.
Trump
Come
says
on,
that
y'all.
Israel-
This is
That's
some
absolutely
bullshit.
not true. I have my entire career.
I know I
my
owe
life
taxes, double
studied
taxes,
Israel.
personal
I understand
taxes
people.
and business
He knows
taxes. The
that
fuck?
He's trying to again divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known
Damn.
that
Now it's
Donald
saying low
Trump
battery
is
on this
weak
one. I'ma keep
and
it going,
wrong on
though.
national
I'ma keep it
security and
going.
foreign policy. It is well known that
I'm gonna have to get a
admires
extension
dictators,
cord or something through
wants to
here.
be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can
Who
do
else is in the
whatever
chat?
hell he wants and go into
Who else is here with me?
It is well known
Say something,
that
I'll
he
talk
said
back.
when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un.
I talk back. I don't care who you
And
voting
it is
for.
absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting
I just,
for you to be president again because they're so clear.
it would
They can
behoove
manipulate you.
everybody, all
It's
two of y'all,
flattering and favoring.
to go vote.
And that is why so many military
It's bullshit.
leaders who you have
We
worked
know.
with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why.
They
we
steady shading each other right. Like she just said that you're a disgrace. It's like they're bickering like schoolgirls, and it's blowing me. I don't want to hear them talking bad about each other. You did this, you said that, you're a bad person. You was at a sorority party. No, give me a solution.
That caused it. That's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down.
I'm here for sure,
Putin
just
endorsed her last
multitasking.
year.
That's
Said,
right.
I hope she wins.
I
And think he meant it,
appreciate you.
because what he's gotten away
And
with
of course,
is absolutely
being the realest
incredible.
one here.
It would have happened
Where's
if
everybody else?
the leaders of other countries
Where's
think that
everybody
they're weak
else? There's 4
and
people ain't here.
incompetent,
Drop
and
something
they
in the
are.
chat.
They're
I'll talk
grossly
back.
incompetent.
Bars.
Can I just ask one question?
Y'all smack
Why does
like that.
Biden
You
go
the
and
realest
build
one
the
here.
Keystone Pipeline and approve the single
You got the right
biggest deal
name.
that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe, because they're weak and they're
I was
ineffective.
stationed in
And Biden,
Germany.
by the way,
So
is
what
paying
you
a lot of
talking
money.
about,
We
boy?
have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential
I
debate
loved
from the
Europe.
National Constitution Center right here. in
Absolutely
Philadelphia.
loved it. And to be fair, Europe, these other countries, they hate all Americans. It ain't no black and white thing for them. Actually, it's a lot of Africans that live in Europe and in like the UK and stuff. Actually, that's where all the decent Africans, kind of well off, middle class, well off, they go to UK and Europe first. We get the project Africans for the most part here. You know what I'm saying? So when I stepped off the plane in Europe, and I guess people didn't like me saying that. When I stepped off the plane in Europe, it took me by surprise that there was so many Africans there. But I see why. And I see why a lot of people are moving to Africa, to these other countries. I absolutely see why. We'll be right back. They need a water break. I need a water break. I hope they don't take all day. So we need to get back to it. Nope, realist, they ain't like what. Yeah, it's a break right now. It was like 4 or 5 people. We got up to 4 or 5 people on this thing. You know, I don't go live often. But yeah, we on the break. The other people left. I think they was mad I started talking about Africans. But I digress. We taking a break. You know, happy. I don't go live much, but I know exactly. It look like your lives be lit. I be popping in there every now and again. Yeah. And welcome to my live, whoever else is here. The realist is here, of course. Whoever else is here, you can drop something in the chat. I'll talk back. But right now, we're on a break from the presidential debate. And just to inform you really quick, they ain't talking about shit. They telling us the problems, bickering amongst each other. But they ain't gave us no solution, except for Israel. So that's the quick update. Share, like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, we're going to be on the ones and twos as soon as they come back. We here live. For the bullshit. Hoping and wishing as an American that we can get them to say some type of solution and not just bicker amongst each other. Please. Please. Please and thank you. A solution would be nice. Hell, damn, almost a lie at this point would be nice. They ain't giving no solutions. They ain't even lying to us at this point. They just came up here just to argue with each other. Shit, this is their time to argue with each other. I guess they ain't caught up no other time. Shit. I hope this ain't a long break, because we ain't got time for that. Let me see what's up. Let me pop it up on the other device. See what's going on. See if it's a break on all stations. Oh, is we back in action? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And they made him do the debate in the same place he got shot in. Like, that's wild to me. That is wild to me. Hello? Hello? What up, brother? What up? We must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin. Oh, this is shit. Oh, this is my this is the hairline. Shit, I got it from the shop. He may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. Yeah.
You have said
I
you
mean,
would solve this war in
shit, straight. I'm
24 hours.
actually
You said so just
live
before the
now
break tonight.
doing a
How
presidential
exactly
debate.
would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe, like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250
Cammy, don't come in here knocking nothing over.
billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize.
Let's turn
With
this
that
up.
being
Should I
said,
turn it up,
I
y'all?
want to get the war settled.
Or can
I
y'all
know
hear it
Zelensky
fine?
very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good
I
relationship.
mean, I turned it up
and they
anyway, but y'all
respect
let me know. If it's
your
too loud, I'll
president,
turn it
okay?
down.
They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin. Hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try to get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers,
He snuck a
did it
solution
after I
in
left.
there. He sure
I
did.
said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well,
And
it wasn't,
that's one
because
thing
Biden
Trump is
had
going to
no
do. He's
idea
going to
how to talk to
negotiate.
him. He had no idea how to stop it, and now you have millions of people dead,
Yeah.
and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III.
I
Don't kid
agree.
yourself, David.
I
We're
agree.
playing with World War III, and we
I
have a
agree.
president
Trump kept
that
him
we
at
don't
bay
even know
while
is-
he was out
where
in
is our
office. He
president?
did.
We don't even know if he's a president.
And just
And
to
as soon as
clarify,
they felt like a weak president came into office, they did
Is
what
he
they
our
wanted to
president?
do.
But we have a president
They did.
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to
Oh
clarify your
shit!
question,
He said we got
do
a
you believe
president
it's in
who
the
doesn't
US
know
best
he's
interest
alive.
for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris.
Sure.
I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump said that
I guess
this war
that
would
was
be
supposed
over
to be
within 24 hours is because he would
a
just give it
dig.
up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what
wasn't.
happened here. I actually met with Zelensky.
Shit,
a
he
few
might as
days
well be going
before
against
Russia
Biden.
Invaded.
It seems about the same.
To change
At this
territorial
point.
boundaries, to define one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself.
You
Days
share with
later,
him
I went to
American
NATO's
intelligence.
Eastern Front, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries
We're not talking
together
about being a
to
sovereign
support Ukraine
American.
in its righteous defense. And
We talking
because
about
of our
negotiation
support, because
with
of the
foreign
air
leaders,
defense,
ma'am.
the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have
No, we
provided,
want to stop
Ukraine
giving them
stands
the
as an
American intelligence.
independent
We
and
want to
free
stop
country.
giving them
If Donald
guns.
Trump were president, Putin would be
We was
sitting
in
Trump
Iraq.
right
They
now.
turned around and used it on
And understand
us.
what that would mean, because Putin's agenda
They wasn't
is
fighting
not
their own
just
war.
about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight. Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and now, please, I'll give you a minute here.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow, quiet please, he would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started.
And it
3
didn't
days
happen.
later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said
That's
the
true.
wrong things. That war should have never started.
That's true.
She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate
That's
with
true.
Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's
No
worse than
negotiation
Biden. In my
skills.
opinion, I
That's
think she's
true.
the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is, it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not
No, that's
our
not
enemies
true.
because you
He
adore
negotiated with
strongmen
them.
instead of
Trump
caring
did,
about
and when they got in
democracy.
office,
And that
Biden
is
and
very
Kamala,
much what is at
they
stake
felt
here.
like
The
they had an
President of the
opening.
United States is the
I know how they
commander-in-chief.
think over there
And
in the Middle
American
East.
people
Listen, they
have
felt
a
like they had an
right to
opening.
rely on a
That we
president
had a weak
who
president where they
understands
can
the
do what they do.
significance of America's role and
That
responsibility
they can do what they do.
in terms of
And no matter what they
ensuring
do,
that there
we
is
gonna come to their
stability
aid.
and ensuring we stand up for our principles and
They
not
waited for
sell
that.
them for the benefit of personal flattery.
You talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28
know, right?
countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've
Wow.
never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise, we
Trump.
would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility?
I know I didn't
in
lit
the way
this
that
blunt
withdrawal
1,000
played out?
times.
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president
Now she
at the
trying to go
time
off now.
invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive
Kamala's
respected
gassed up
world
now.
leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them
She wanted
to
to say in this
Camp
bit.
David because he does not again
That's what she wanted to
appreciate
say.
the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be Commander-in-Chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that he began the
Yeah,
negotiations
thank
with
you.
the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move
And
on.
these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you.
I just said
To
that.
racial politics in this country.
I just
Mr.
said
President,
that.
you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
I don't
asking.
know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out,
Lord have mercy.
and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career,
She gonna
attempted
play
to
the
use
guilt
race to
trip.
divide the American people. You know, I do believe that
It's
the
the
vast
time to pull the
majority
race
of us
card.
know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was a
Here she goes.
land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times
Well, that's true
calling
too.
for the
Shit.
execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent. The
They
Central
actually
Park
try to whip
Five
Kamala in the shape.
took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris.
She got a
President
point.
Trump, this is now your third time.
She cute, but I wouldn't vote
This
for
is
her.
the most divisive
Kamala is pretty.
presidency
Absolutely.
in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with
So let me
things
quit.
like what she just said.
Mr. Sagittarius, go off. Go off, realist.
Agreed with me on the Central Park fight. They admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then
Yeah,
they
Kamala
pled
is
not
pretty,
guilty.
but
This is
that's
a
not going to
person
negotiate
that has to
deals.
stretch back years, 40, 50 years
I mean, they said
ago,
that that's,
because
you know,
there's
she was
nothing
cracking them
now.
cheeks
I
back in
built
the
one of
day,
the
but,
greatest
you know, it's not going to
economies in the
negotiate these
history of the
deals with
world.
these foreign
And I'm gonna
leaders,
build it
okay?
again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies.
How you know
every
I'ma say
single
it?
policy-
You said
and
it.
Remember this. She is Biden.
You said it.
You know, she's trying to get away from
I just
Biden.
got
don't know the
a
gentleman,
long
she
ass
says.
memory.
She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had. A horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad that she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Time's up. Please.
Briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism
Yep.
about what we can do.
I remember
instead of
everything.
always
I'm a
discouraging
Capricorn though. I
the
remember
American
everything.
people. I
Everything.
believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is
That's
why
why I'm
I
on
have
they
a plan.
every
Let's
word.
talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a
I'm
plan
pardon what?
to give startup businesses $50,000 tax
Drop something in the
deduction
chat. I'll talk
to
back.
pursue their
Bars.
ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan. It's about allowing people to be able to pursue
Okay.
what has been fleeting in
Yep.
terms of the American dream.
Yep.
by
The
offering
goat.
a help with down payment
Big
of
Capricorn.
$25,000
The
down
goat.
payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling.
But that's all she did this whole time too. Belittling and name calling. That's all both of them did. The only solution they gave us was for Hamas.
She has a
Israel.
plan
That's the
to
only
confiscate
solution they had.
everybody's gun.
President
She
Trump,
has a
Both
plan
of them, to
to
be
not
honest.
allow fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
That's what her plan is until just recently.
I just
Lindsay,
need
go ahead.
President
to
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump.
president has
No,
said
I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry,
I
we're
just need to
gonna move on,
respond
Vice
one
President.
time to what he
President
said.
Trump, this is now your third time running for president. You have
Kamala's
long
trying to go
vowed
out.
to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're
Girl,
gonna
you about
keep
to go
Obamacare,
off
quote,
with
unless
this
we can do
suit
something
and them
else
shoulders,
better.
honey.
Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're gonna do it and we're gonna replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never gonna be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain.
Here we go.
I had a choice
This
to
shit.
make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
Right, that's what I was about to say.
plan.
Neither one of them
I'm not
just
president
still
right now.
don't have a
But
solution
if
to anything. Neither one
we
of
come up
them.
with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very
Here
clear
we
my
go.
position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time. When I will never forget the early morning hours.
What
when
about
it
affordable
was up
action?
for a vote in the United
What about
States
the
Senate.
mass,
And the late great John McCain, who you have
the lack of
disparaged
enrollment
as
HBCUs
being
these last 2
You
years?
don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, "No, you don't.
Back down to
No,
one.
you
I
don't.
guess those are
No,
some
you
Kamala
don't get rid
fans.
of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it,
Vice
pass this
President
poll up
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on
I
that.
want to move to an issue that's important for a
She
lot
made a
of
mistake. At number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It was all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare. Much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to give.
President
People are
Trump.
paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris,
Right.
you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or is being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as Vice President over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been Vice President. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last
Oh
month.
my God.
It's
This is
going-
blowing
they're
me,
all
them
leaving.
attacking each other.
They're
All I want to
building
hear
big
is
auto
solutions.
plants in
I promise you
Mexico.
guys.
In many
That's all I want to
cases
hear.
owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible.
What that
We
mean,
have
Realist?
nothing
Are you
because
tired of it
they
too?
refuse. You know, Biden
Shit,
doesn't go after
no
people because
solution.
supposedly China paid him millions
We
of
have
dollars.
no
He's afraid
takeaway
to
from
do
this
it.
debate.
Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries.
How's she looking
And
at
then you
him?
wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he?
Like he's
Why
full
did
of
he get
shit.
$3.5 million
Both of them
from
are
the
full of
mayor
shit, to be
Moscow's
honest.
wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country
Both
down
of them
the
are
tubes.
crooked,
President Trump,
to
thank
be
you.
honest.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate.
This has been taxing. Well, I guess it's gonna last for 2 hours.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
This has been taxing. It's the one and only debate that they're gonna have before November elections. It's just a scary thought. These last few elections has been just horrible. We're on a commercial break for whoever's dropping in. Little breaky break. The breaks have been probably about 5 minutes or less. Hasn't been too long, which is great. But fill you in, they're bickering with each other, saying what each other is doing, how crooked the other administration is, and really haven't given us any solution except for Hamas and Israel and what they'll do for that. Not about climate change, not about taxes, not about healthcare, not about the border situation. They haven't given us solutions for nothing. Y'all smack that like. Yes, what the realest one said. I be forgetting to ask people. Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. And y'all can drop something in the chat. I'll talk back. Thanks, realest one here, for reminding me. Yes, please give me a thumbs up. Just a little slight commentary on the presidential debate, the one and only debate that we're going to have before the elections in November. People don't like to hit the like button. No. Should have told they ass, don't hit the like button. I don't want none of y'all motherfuckers to hit the like button. Fuck y'all. That's what they want to say. The people who be saying fuck y'all, that's who they be liking. I'm like, easiest thing in the world. Just hit the like button. Nah, it's too much like right. Now, if I would have said, hell no, I don't want nobody hit the fucking like button. Fuck everybody. Then they be on it. They be on it. They don't even want to talk. All the socials are non-social now. People don't want to have a real conversation. They was eating me up on that JD Vance video that I put out though. Oh, they had a whole bunch of conversation in. What's up? It's 4 people in the chat. Y'all came right when we on a little break from the debate, the one and only debate we're gonna have. To fill everybody in, once again, negativity draws on this type of app. I know. Now I want you to say, please, like, but on the for real. No, I know. This I know. But yeah, the one and only debate that we're gonna have for Trump and Kamala, all they've been doing is bickering amongst each other and saying what the other administration is doing, how crooked each one of them are, and that's it. They had no solutions on climate change. They had no solutions on the border. They had no solutions on healthcare. They had no solutions on several things. Neither one of them, Trump or Kamala. But they both had a solution for Israel and Hamas. Yeah, they had a solution for that. So just dropping, letting y'all know what's going on the little break. Should be coming back in another 2-3 minutes. Yep. Hit the like button, people. My people. I guess y'all ain't my people. And don't fucking hit the like button. Please don't. Don't do it. I'm ready for them to come back. They haven't said anything. Neither one of them. Neither fucking one of them. Here we go.
Live from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here again, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements, and Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight 2 very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In an attempt to take us back.
Well, that's okay. They don't have to hit the like
But
button.
we're not going back.
I'm just glad that
And
all
I
4
do
people is here with me.
believe that the American
Watch
people
the
know
watch the
we all
debate.
have so much more in common than
It's
what
important
separates us.
that we
And
do
we
see
can
it.
chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes
No matter who
having a
you
plan,
voting for.
understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our
No,
military
we can't
and
do
ensuring
shit.
we have
We
the most
expecting
lethal
you
fighting
to do
force
something.
in the world.
And once
I
again,
will
just
be a
telling us the
president that will
problems, but
protect our
not coming
fundamental
with a
rights and
solution.
freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now.
This was super rehearsed.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Casio Cash Trump 24. I agree. I'm with you. Big T for the win.
She's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years.
But this debate, to be honest,
They've had
Casio,
3.5
this debate
years to
has
fix
been
the border.
disappointing.
They've had 3.5 years to
Even on
create
Trump's
jobs, and
side.
all the things we
I mean,
talk
but I'm
about.
still voting
Why
Trump because
hasn't
she
she done
still
it? She
didn't
should
say
leave
nothing
right now,
in this
go
debate,
down
but
to
you
that
know.
beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it. Because
True.
you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like, we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution
He flipped the coin
Center.
and got the last say.
And I'm David Muir.
I
Thank
guess
you for
that's gonna
watching
stick
here
with
in
a
the
lot
US
of
and
people.
all over
The
world
last
and from all
word.
of us here at ABC News. Good night.
They're saying it's been real, people. Thank you for dropping by. The debate is over. Big T is done. Let me know who y'all got in the comments. If y'all feel like it, y'all can give me a thumbs up. Okay? But I guess y'all ain't got to. Fuck it. But y'all know what this is. It's Politicking with Precious, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor, and your friend. Thank you, realest one here. You absolutely was the realest one here.